Sometimes the most powerful lessons come from the simplest stories. Today, we're diving into one of those. A story that really gets to the heart of a struggle we all face, the fear of letting go. It's all about what it really means to grow, and, more importantly, what it costs us when we're too afraid to try. So, picture this. You've got a snake, which is like the ultimate symbol of transformation, right? Shedding its skin, always renewing itself. But this snake is stuck. It's completely trapped. So you have to wonder, what could possibly be holding it back?
And here's the thing. It wasn't because it couldn't grow. Nope. The potential was there, It was right under the surface, just ready to burst out. So if it wasn't a lack of ability, what was the real problem?
It all comes down to one thing. Fear. That deep, gut-level fear of releasing what's familiar, even when you know it's the very thing that's holding you back. And that right there, that's the battle we're going to explore today. Okay, so to really get why this snake was so terrified, you first have to understand what that old skin meant to it. See, it wasn't just scales. It was a home. Think about that. This skin was its entire history, its armor against the world. It was familiar. It knew every single scratch, every single mark. In a world full of danger, that kind of safety, that predictability, man, that is an incredibly tough thing to give up.
And here's where it gets interesting. The very same thing that was once protective, safe, and familiar slowly became painful, heavy, and just suffocating. The thing that once guaranteed its survival was now threatening its very existence. It's kind of wild how that can happen, right?
And this gets to the absolute core of the snake's terror. It's a question I think we've all asked ourselves at some point. What if I lose myself without this? We wrap our identities so tightly around our jobs, our relationships, our situations, that we start to believe we are those things. Letting them go feels like letting go of ourselves.
Well, this brings us to the breaking point. That moment when the dull, constant ache of staying the same finally becomes louder and more painful than the sharp, terrifying fear of making a change.
And then it hits. A brutal but absolutely necessary realization. The snake finally understood. Its comfort zone wasn't comfortable anymore. It was a cage, and the walls were closing in, fast. Staying put was no longer a safe option. It was a slow, guaranteed suffocation.
And just like that, the whole perspective shifts. Growth is no longer this thing you might do someday. It's not a nice to have. It becomes the only path forward. It's not a choice anymore, it's a necessity. It is survival.
So the choice becomes crystal clear. It's not about avoiding pain. That's off the table. It's about choosing your pain. Are you going to take the sharp but temporary pain of letting go? Or are you going to sign up for the dull, chronic, never-ending pain of staying exactly where you are? So, the snake made its choice. But, as we all know, deciding to change and actually going through the change are two totally different animals. The process itself, it's messy, it's hard, and yeah, it hurts. You can pretty much break it down into 3 stages. First, you have to face resistance, rubbing up against the rough, uncomfortable parts of reality to start breaking free. Then you have to endure, being exposed as those old protections start to fall away. And finally, you have to just embrace being totally and completely vulnerable. And that moment, man, that's where it all happens. It's this terrifying space between who you used to be and who you're becoming. You've got no armor, no guarantees, no certainty, just you in the middle of it all.
But what happens when you actually push through all that fear, all that vulnerability? What's waiting for you on the other side of the fight? Because this is where the story gets really, really good.
So let's go back to that central fear, right? After all that struggle, all that pain and uncertainty, did the snake's worst nightmare come true? Did it lose its identity in the process?
The answer is a huge, resounding no, not even close. See, the act of shedding wasn't about losing something. It was about discovering what was underneath the whole time. It wasn't a subtraction, it was a revelation. And just look at what it found under there. Not some weaker, damaged version of itself, but one that was better in every way. Stronger, without all those old restrictions. Lighter, free from the heavy weight of the past. And faster. More agile, more capable, and ready for whatever came next. Okay, so this whole time we've been talking about a snake. But we're not really talking about a snake, are we? This is where the story stops being about him and starts being about us. This is so important, so please listen to this. If your life feels tight right now, constricting, uncomfortable, it doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're succeeding at growing, and your old life just doesn't fit anymore. So what is it for you? What's your old skin? Maybe it's the habits that used to help you cope, but now they just hold you back. Maybe it's an identity that feels way too small for who you are now. Or maybe, just like the snake, it's that old version of you, the one you created to keep yourself safe, that is now keeping you from being free. And so here we are, right back at that fundamental choice. But this time, it's your choice. Yeah, letting go is gonna hurt. It takes real courage. But staying the same, that's not the safe bet. That is a guarantee of a much longer, slower, more suffocating kind of pain. So, I'll leave you with this one last question. Who are you really meant to be? Right now, underneath it all. Who could you be if you just had the courage to let go and shed that old skin? Because that person, the real you, can't breathe inside the life you're living anymore. It's time.